Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I have here an article that will explain and exemplify how much loving is in Eastern Europe or Central Europe among the countries and among the people. Believe me, these things are not coincidences or mistakes. I will talk about one incident and I will give you some examples from my direct life that I experienced. Obviously, the new voice of Ukraine from September 7, 2022. Ukraine demands or else that Hungary urgently correct anti-Ukrainian content in school textbook. So probably the Hungarians interpreted certain facts in a certain way or purposely, and the other country says, hey, I demand you correct that according to my vision of events. It's like, let's say, United States would say, well, actually, we just purchased, that part of Mexico, remember? And the Mexicans will demand, yes, you purchased it, but you attacked us and you conquered half of our territory, and then you got to our capital and you said, you're gonna sell it or not. That's the way it was. I want you to put that in your textbooks, just like that. What do you think the United States will do? Or what do you think if, let's say, the Americans, the British would put in their textbooks, we colonized the world and we civilized the world, those savages? Do you think the other countries, wherever Great Britain or England went and did what they did, will tell England, probably they will say, you got to change that because we don't like your interpretation of events? And let's say the Great Britain would say, yeah, but we like this interpretation more than your interpretation, and it's our history and our educational system, so beat it. I don't come to your country and tell you what you should write in your textbooks. Maybe I don't like your interpretation of events. Would you change that? No. Why? Because you think yours is the right one, as I think mine is the right one. So you see, it's your interpretation versus my interpretation. And actually, this is my country, this is my house, and you do whatever you want in yours. But you can demand shit. That would talk an independent country, by the way, not a weasel country. Let's see what was the answer of the Hungarians. All right, Ukraine has demanded, a country demands, what are you going to do? Are you going to invade Hungary? And demanded that Hungary urgently, quickly correct false information about Ukraine in a school geography textbook released for this year's 8th graders. The spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, Oleg Nikolenko. No, that's a spokesperson. Oh my God, that's a speech police right there. Told NV on September 7th, right? New voice, I'm guessing. In particular, the authors of the textbook falsely claim that there is a civil war in Ukraine. Well, if you look at it, how did it start? The whole thing with Russia. How Russia invaded Ukraine? Well, let's move a little bit back with chronological events. What happened in Donbass and Lugansk? Why? Was it a civil war for 8 years or not? And this is a consequence of that. So is it half true, let's put it? So why would you start with the Russian invasion and you don't start with that? Maybe it is a civil war and Russia intervened. So which one supersedes which? The civil war, that is actually, if you want to go, you go to the 2014, the overthrow of the legitimate government, right? By traitors, if you want to put it this way, with the help of outside forces and interests. That is treason. If you overthrow a democratically elected, legitimate government with the outside help, you are a traitor of your country, because it was everything legitimate. It was nothing fraudulent. What you did was fraudulent. So you should start with that one. That should be they should not say about a civil war. They should say it was an illegal overthrow. That could be an illegal overthrow of a government supported by outside sources. And then, in particular, the authors of the textbooks falsely claim, falsely, this is the Ukrainian interpretation. The Hungarian interpretation is that a civil war in Ukraine. At the same time, the Ukrainian flag is depicted upside down. Okay, that's a mistake. Wait a year and we will rectify that. That's a mistake. Okay. What, you want me to get everything out and put it on? We don't want to. It's too much money. If you give us the money, I mean, if you ask United States to give you the money so you can give us, so if you ask United States government to take the money from its taxpayers, which is me, and give it to you, to the leaders of Ukraine, and the leaders of Ukraine keep a portion for themselves and the rest send it to Hungary's government to change that, we're okay. So you're welcome. According to Nikolenko, Ukrainian diplomats held a meeting at the Hungarian Foreign Ministry on September 6th, during which they emphasized the inadmissibility of presenting uncredible and distorted facts about Ukraine. And I'm quoting, listen to the language. We demand that the false information in a textbook be corrected as soon as possible, the official said. And the guy said, well, you know what, we write whatever you want. What if they would say that? What would you do? Sue? Meanwhile, journalist of the Hungarian media outlet Telex said the illustration of Ukraine in a textbook looks as if it has deliberately been prepared to please Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. The image shows a Russian bear and man wearing US and EU symbols tearing the upside-down Ukrainian flag into pieces. The authors of the textbook also claim that the distribution of nationalities across the territory of multinational Ukraine is very uneven, while the Russians constitute the majority in the east of the country and in occupied Crimea. Is it true? Why don't you do a little Google search and you find out? I know for a fact that in Crimea that's true. The Romanians are Romanians. Ukraine. The Russians are majority, and in the eastern portions, look, you find those. It's not a secret. You find and see the distribution. Now let me tell you my direct experience. Romania and Hungary have a little problem, to say the least, with Transylvania, which Hungary claims is theirs. Romania said no, it was not, never yours. It was for 50 years yours as Hungary, and the rest was Austria-Hungary, and it was an autonomous province. Okay, that's why it was. And before that it was this and that. You came in year 100. We were here from, I don't know, Burebista and others in 2,500 years ago, and you just came 1,000 years ago. So you know what, these kind of things. Now Transylvania belongs to Romania. In the communist times, when we were friends, allegedly, you know, in the Eastern Bloc, where our Western how do you call it, the Western free world left us in the hands of the Soviets, criminals, with all those Yogodas and Kaganovich and Stalin, all non-Russians, by the way. And you know, they left us to those guys, and they butchered the intelligentsia of Romania like they did with the commissars in Katyn Forest in Poland and wherever else they put their booth on. Thank you very much, by the way. And just kidding. So the Hungarians made books where they depicted, for instance, Hungary as it is, the territory that you can look at on the map right now, but with Transylvania incorporated. And Romania said, oh, that's not right, that's not right. And you know what Hungary said? Nothing. And that was incorporated in Hungary. Something that territorially was in Romania, legally, everything, you know, recognized and so on. They did that in their textbooks. So you tell me what's more civil war versus whatever Russian helping, invading, or this? It was not a mistake. It was a provocation right there. Anything happened? No. So these things happen. Is the same person here, the perpetrator, let's put it this way, it's Hungary, which I don't care. I mean, they do whatever they want, but They're waiting for Transylvania. We all know that. But it is what it is. I mean, Romania has Bukovina taken by Stalin and given to Ukraine. And Ukraine said, oh, that's ours. You came in the 5th century, not even in the 5th. The Slavic nations in Europe showed up. What are you talking about? That's yours. You know what I mean? If you go about that. The same we talk about it, talk about so-called Native Americans, which are Indian Americans coming from East Asia, right? Their genetic makeup shows that. It's not that they were born here. They migrated, came from somewhere. That's why they can't be called native. Because native is something that's originally from there. Originally, these guys, so-called Native Americans, which are Indian Americans, are from East Asia. Asiatic people, that's their origin, that's where the nativity, that's where they are, as far as we know. And they migrate over the Bering Straits and came here. So they're now native. Then if they're native because they came here, then I'm native too, because I came here too. By the same rule. So nevertheless, you claim things based on what? On who was first? Then, well, obviously my ancestors were first on the Romanian territory, or their current Romania, Transylvania. So Hungarians came in what? In 10th century. That was thousands, or 1,500 years after my ancestors were on that territory. You know, so the same here. Civil war. What if they want to see it that way? Again, do I like it that Hungary put that, how do you call it, map as they did with Transylvania over there? I don't like it, but what can I do? Is it factual? Are they going to be involved in that? No. They show it their kids that it belongs to them. Yeah, it's a propaganda. Yeah. Will they think that's theirs? Yes. What can I do? That's their country. They teach their kids whatever they want to teach them. If they want to teach that Hungary is the greatest country in the world and everybody is garbage, they can do that. If they want to say that, I don't know, that country are criminal countries, they can say that. They can say whatever they want. And by the way, they can identify as whatever they want to identify themselves. And everybody has to respect that and call them accordingly. Okay, so if they say we're the best country in the world, because that's how we identify, and the best people in the world, the superior people in the world, you have to, because we identify as that, you have, out of respect, have to call us this way. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.